morning and good day, heroes of the storm fans. I'm Omster, and today we have three casts ahead of us, all part of NGS Season 19's Division C. The first matchup, as you can see on your screen, will be between Pepegas on Ice and Witch Rhythm. Again, the quick disclaimer is that in a replay cast, there is no draft phase. So we will do a quick draft analysis when we hop into the game, followed by the awesome play these teams have to give us. So as you can see, Pepegas and Ice have banned Towers of Doom and Tomb of the Spider Queen. They really dislike maps that start with the letter T, which, I mean, makes sense. If you have a T phobia, really deal with it. And on the side of Witch Rhythm, they have banned Dragonshire and Volskaya Foundry, meaning that for map number 1, Alterac Pass is where we will go to watch these two teams duke it out. Alterac Pass, one of the largest maps in the map pool, and it also has I think the fastest spawning capture camp in the game, with the gnolls coming up about every minute. So, keeping wave prio very important on a map this large, so globals are often well liked here, as well as talents that can work globally, so Ragnaros can be popular here, Dahaka, Falstad. There's a number of heroes that can help you maintain wave priority on this large of a map. So let's see what these teams have drafted and what they think will take them to a W in game number 1 between Pepegas on Ice and Witch Rhythm. So we see here the blue side, which is Pepegas on Ice. They've drafted Li Ming, Muradin, Malfurion, Falstad, Ragnaros. So they sort of have that 1.5 globals here with, if Ragnaros goes Lava Wave, that gives you a free way to push. Like, say your team's fighting, if you look at the minimap here, say your team's fighting in the top over the objective, you can run a wave bottom and very suddenly put pressure on your opposing team with all their minions all the way back to core dead. Which gives you strong wave priority. As well as Falstad being able to stay a little longer in a lane, then fly into a fight, and after 10, bring that big, mighty gust, that meaty gust, if you will. Muradin and Li Ming, just good all-round characters. I'm not entirely certain on why Malfurion is here, to be perfectly honest. He's not particularly a meta healer, and at least for me, I'm kind of failing to see. Like, he kind of needs Muradin to hit the raw Stormbolt before he can land a reliable route. Once someone is locked down, so Frenia and Falstad can blow them up. But an interesting choice for healer. Not a bad one, just an interesting one in this team. But this is a team that's very good at macro, and I would say moderate to good on team fights. Definitely has some strength. Not a lot of health to go through, and Malfurion isn't a burst healer. But looking quickly at the enemy team, outside of Hansa W, they don't look super bursty either. So Malfurion may actually be an answer to the slightly slower damage coming out of Witch Rhythm, who've drafted Johanna, Lunara, Hanzo, Leoric, and Rhaegar. So Johanna's just one of the best in slot tanks, and she's particularly good on this map at controlling areas, which is always useful around channel objectives. Lunara gives you great vision and has the speed to change lanes quickly, as does Leoric. So you've got two characters that can rotate quickly. Because they have no globals, this will be pretty darn useful. Rhaegar helps you take camp more quickly, which is definitely worth keeping in mind. And Hanzo, just with the way this map is laid out, can often give you kind of the surprise scatter that can turn a fight around quickly. So this is also a team that is macro-focused with moderate to good team fight. So I'm really looking forward to see how these teams play their compositions out and who's going to bring home the win in game number 1. Without further ado, let's get started and see what action these teams have to give us. It's game number 1 in NGS Season 19 Division C. between Pepegas on Ice and Witch Rhythm. In the blue, representing the dwarves and defending Vanda Stormpike, we've got Pepegas on Ice. Raptor is on the Murden. Muidar is on the Malfurion. We've got Sylphrenia on the Li Ming. Tikor is on the Ragnaros. And we've got Peas on Falstad. In the red, defending the Orcs for the Horde and Drekthar, we have Witch Rhythm. We've got Blitz on Johanna, Matt 407 on Hanzo, Real Rad Dad on the Rhaegar, King Dunce on Lunara, and up in the top lane, Vetlungs is playing Leoric. Looking at level 1 talents here, we do have the Aether Walker for the Li Ming and Third Wind for Murden, letting him step in and out of fights, not needing as much healing from the healer. So Malf can focus more on healing the squishier members of this team. And Li Ming and Falstad are fairly squishy members. And for an offlaner, Ragnaros is among the lower health offlaners. Not that he's squishy, just that he's not as burly as something like a Hogger or a Blaze. Gets pulled in there by Blitz's Condemn, but manages to work his way out and tap up as they look to gank the Leoric top, but that's a hard move to pull off, if we're being honest. We have the Emerald Dream, so the standard sleepy roots for Malfurion, and it looks like Witch Rhythm is looking for the gank here. Tikor was looking at the camp, but now everyone's here. He's forced to use the Blast Wave to get away, but they will have to give up this camp to the 4-man of Witch Rhythm. So giving away the experience on their cap, and I thought maybe their team would rotate towards the camp, but no! The camp is stolen, but Johanna is killed in response, and now they're going to chase with no tank. The Stormpool just comes up short of connecting with Rhaegar. Sylphrenia is using the teleport to come in after. Rhaegar's low, but looks like he will be able to escape here as they're unable to follow up on the Horde's Wolf Shaman. We have the Frequent Flyer Auto Attack quest for the Falstad at 1 and Sulfurous Hungers. So in fact, the Empower Sulfurous Q build that gives Ragnaros slightly better sustain. Once again, they're putting pressure up on the Leoric here. Falstad is mid, while Johanna and Lunara take their camp. On the right, we do see that we have Laws of Hope for Johanna, so the orb stacking quest that gives her some sustain and health recovery. We do have the Sentinel Wisp from Lunara. We also have Simple Geometry from Hanzo, the Scatter Arrow quest. Sorry, I don't know why my voice is like this. Ossian Renewal for Leoric, and Colossal Totem for the Rhaegar. So an E build there. And Neil Peasants for the Leoric. They're looking for faster clear and possibly being able to help with the camp later on. So, with no camp to push back, Ragnaros is tasked with clearing this Knoll camp mid. And it looks like Witch Rhythm wants to start a 4v3 in the top lane. The Roots forces the team to split up a little bit, slows down this engage, meaning that they're able to stay safe here. Prisoner camps are up for the objective. They're going to jump onto Muidar's Malfurion, but for the moment he is safe, loses about half his health. Ragnaros Tikor looking to jump on this camp again, and they actually know where their opponents are. So he knows he can take it safely as Falstad flies bottom to get them wave prile there. Sylphrenia dropping some damage here into the 4-man of Witch Rhythm. Real Rad Dad will jump onto Sylphrenia. King Dunce looking to get some damage. Good Stormbolt there by Raptor will keep his Li Ming safe. The Drain Hope will miss from Leoric. That means he's a lot squishier for the next 7 seconds or so. They're putting damage onto Raptor. Blitz comes in with the Condemn. A lot of damage coming out from this Lunara. Blitz and Vetlung taking damage. And Rhaegar able to keep their health up for now and not really out of mana yet. The orb comes through, does do some damage to Vetlung. They're able to defend the camp, and the Drekthar Horde Cavalry will come out to support the lanes of Witch Rhythm. They're continuing to chase this fight for the time being, but it looks like they will get out safely. And while this null camp will do some damage mid, it will be cleared quickly by the storm bow of Hanzo, as he did take the explosive arrows at 4. You know, they're rotating bottom. They're putting some pressure on Tikor here. He's getting damaged and slowed by Lunara. Manages to survive without half of his health. But here it comes. There are 4 bottom, and they're pressuring with this camp, with this cavalry here. So doing what he can for damage here, Tikor. In the mid, Falstad is clearing out that camp, and in the top, Sylphrenia and Muidar will clear this out, but it's the bottom. Molten Core is popped to keep this fort healthy for now, and that is a mammoth strength of the Ragnaros on any map, especially maps where you've got a strong pushing presence that comes from the objective. The ability of Ragnaros to deflect damage off of the forts and put it onto his Molten Core is fantastic. Rhaegar is split from the team now. Rear Dad is caught out, drops the totem, but does get caught and is blown away. The final shot being on P's Falstad, who will fly top to respond to the push by Vetlung's Leoric. Excuse me, pardon me. Got a little bit of a frog this morning. In my throat, specifically. Tikor is taking down the camp here, while Lunara is rotating to the Witch Rhythm side camp. So, after that first objective for Witch Rhythm, they didn't get much. They got the gate in the bottom lane. They've got most of the gate, not this tower, in the mid lane. And they got not even both towers and the gate in the top lane. So an excellent defense there by the members of Pepegas on ice, as they take very little structural damage that mattered. And again, the Molten Core being a big help with that, as 4 members of Witch Rhythm went bottom, and Ragnaros just went, nah, you can hit my big fiery bod. I'm a raid boss. So it is Null Camp versus Null Camp. Blitz will be caught here. Iron Skin lasting a long time and manages to walk away. The totem is dropped as well, keeping the tank safe. Drain Hope will land on Raptor. Ragnaros pushes out that wave in the bottom, and now 10s are here for both teams. We do have the Lava Wave from Ragnaros, the Mighty Gust from Falstad. We have Tranquility. Experience Tranquility from the Malfurion, Avatar from Murden, and Disintegrate from Li Ming, as the next objective will spawn in the bottom lane. We have Blessed Shield for Johanna, Thornwood Vine from Lunara, Dragon's Arrow from Hanzo, Entomb from Leoric, and Ancestral Healing, as expected, from Rhaegar. So this is a 3v5 at the moment, as Falstad is top, and Ragnaros is coming from the bottom, is punishing the Hanzo here. They jump into the Dragon's Arrow, hits 4, and there comes the Entomb. The Mighty Gust comes out, but Raptor's incredibly low, and Muidar is still caught in the Entomb. Out comes Sylphrenia's Li Ming Orms, but this team needs to back away. They are so low. King Dunce capturing this, but this choke point is an opportunity for Sylphrenia and Peas to do some damage, as the tick-up healing from Muidar is coming through. Thornwood Vine is lashed out, but the Ragnaros Molten Core is popped again and putting the damage. There's a great Stormbolt, and it kills Hanzo with the help of Li Ming. Tons of damage now coming out of the Johanna. Raptor looking to chase King Dunce, but is being slowed. But after all that, the first kill in this team fight will actually go to Pepegas on ice, as they finish off Hanzo. Lunar is incredibly low, and now the camp will start ticking down on the side of Pepegas on ice. Ragnaros pressuring bottom. They get so much damage on Leoric, and he goes down as well, trying to keep himself safe with the Wraithwalk, but the burst from this Li Ming is tremendous. Ragnaros does go back to base, getting himself some mana here. Blitz looking to obstruct the members of Pepegas on ice, but is unable to, and at this time they'll simply fall back to take their camp, as now it will be Dwarf Cavalry coming in to aid the members of Pepegas on ice. Thunder! Send out your cavalry, it's time to take down the buildings of the Horde. So Vetlung's looking to push out this wave, and there's a huge wave coming of red minions towards Pepegas on Ice, which will push this camp back to the gate instead of starting somewhere around here. But here come the cavalry for the dwarves. They are 4-man rotated bot and leapt onto Tikor. He does manage to throw his lava wave down the bottom, but once again, an aggressive rotate from Rhaegar will get him punished. So it ends up being a 1-for-1 after a clean gank by the members of Witch Rhythm. That's twice now that we've seen some aggressive pathing from Rhaegar cost him his life. In the middle, the unsupported by heroes cavalry are smashing through this fort, and it's at half health. The bottom fort is taken, and in the top, Fallside will be able to take this as well. So the first cavalry setup for the members of Pepegas on Ice will go a lot farther than the first cavalry objective went for the members of Witch Rhythm. Now Raptor looking aggressively. The Drain Hope does miss. But the last camp is down. No, sorry, there's still a camp top. It's being killed by Fallside. We do have the 5-man siege here as Tikor pops the Molten Core once again, and they're looking to take out the gate on this keep, but they don't have, at the moment, a character advantage in terms of both teams are at 5v5 right now. So they've gotten the gate. They do jump onto, but in comes Vetlungs looking to decrease the damage. Out comes into a great Dragon's Arrow. Peas is incredibly low, and out comes the Mighty Gust. Vetlung's also low, but a great timing on that Ancestral. Real Rad Dad saves his Leoric, and Falstad is killed by the long-range Hanzo damage. Muidar cannot get away, is killed also. So far it's a 2-for-none. They continue to chase. The giant totem, the colossal totem comes out. Oh, the Liming damage blows away Hanzo in the back line, but the slows from Lunara are tremendous. Oh, but the turn! The jumping Stormbolt from Raptor sets up Sophronia to blow away Real Rad Dad, and it ends up being a 2-for-2 after some fantastic awareness from Pepegas on Ice means they knew when and how to turn damage onto some mid-health members of Witch Rhythm. And again, Witch Rhythm, with the way they're being aggressive, they keep costing themselves, they keep losing people after they've won a successful fight, and that has got to feel a little bit rough. Camp will be captured on Pepegas on Ice side, and it's being pinged on the side of Witch Rhythm as well. Good morning, Burial. So Blitz captures the orb there. Good for him, and he's up to 24 on the Laws of Hope. So every 10 regen globes gives 5% more, so that's an additional 10% to Johanna with the 24, meaning she's up to 30% max health over 5 seconds. She comes down to scout, but her team is not here. And this, she'll be aware of it, but they're not able to fight this. Bottom boss will go over to Pepegas on Ice. Let's take the fight to the Horde. We've got 50 seconds on these camps now. Poor balding dwarf man is locked in here. Ooh, he's got little glasses. Over here, this guy's got a cool helmet. So it will be a defense from the 4-man of Witch Rhythm, while in the top, it looks like instead of going for objective, they're going to do both. They split up. Peas tanks the Raptor tanks the minions while Peas captures. And in the top, Ragnaros, Sylphrenia, and Malfurion will look at taking on this boss. And Raptor will rotate to help out, while all 5 of Rich of them are going to come in and look to jump on Peas here, who barrel rolls over the wall, keeping him safe for now. But they've already gotten 21 seconds taken off here. The boss is killed and captured by Pepegas on Ice, and they have a chokehold on control and tempo in game number 1 here. And they have just very, very clean macro. They know what they want to do, and they're doing it here on Alterac Pass. And I do wonder if it was their map choice. The boss continues to surge down the top lane towards this gate. And Lunara's been sent to deal with it, but they don't want to also give up. They know how bad it went last time they gave up this camp. But seeing Lunara on the boss means they're going to jump in towards the Leoric. The roots go down, will not catch anyone. Blitz does get a 2-man condemn, but the Tranquility will be popped by Muidar here. Plenty of damage coming out from Sylphrenia, but it doesn't manage to stick. But their tranquility also keeping the members of Pepegas on Ice very healthy as they recapture the camp, and it is ticking down as this boss is still at a third of its health. It destroys the gate in the top and will start getting keep damage as well. But they're now prioritizing. They want to fight over this camp. They don't want to give it away for free, but they can't get close enough soon enough. A ton of damage comes out from that Li Ming Disintegrate. Raptor jumping into the 5-man, but he takes a lot of damage and is forced to Dwarf Toss out. But here it comes. The cavalry has been captured for Pepegas on Ice, and they will push in every lane. Bot lane, a huge wave is crashing. In the top lane, this wave is pushed up because of the boss. And in the middle, Ragnaros will push this wave out as well, so there will be very little reprieve for Witch Rhythm, as every lane will have a pushed up cavalry invading right away. Molten Core comes out from Ragnaros to force this even further as he puts damage onto the middle keep and pushes this wave in so that this cavalry will have maximum effect against the keep of Witch Rhythm. In the top, caught in the roots was Vet Lungs, but he uses the Wraith Walk to get out. It's a 4v3 in the top as Hanzo is bot and Rhaegar is mid. We do see this take a lot of the Storm Bolt does come out onto King Dunce's Lunara, manages to just kind of step backward. Stay safe for now. The stun is out, but Blessed Shield sets up nothing, as mid keep will go down as well, and bot keep is still safe for the moment, but they're looking to charge in on Drekthar. No, they're backing away at the moment, actually. T-Core does not have Molten Core to help siege the core of Witch Rhythm, to siege the Orc Commander. Entomb will come out, but a good Mighty Gust. And 20s are here now. 20s are here. It's a second lava wave for Ragnaros, but they're looking to jump on some low health members here. But again, this has been problematic before, but they get Muidar. They get Muradin. And it's a 2 for 0, and it doesn't look like there'll be any opportunities for turns this time around. But that second lava wave will clear the minions. I mean, a wave can push in to this about 1/3 health bottom keep for Witch Rhythm. So we see the Wind Tunnel. We've got Life Bloom giving more burst heal for Malfurion. We've got Rewind for Muradin and Telrasha's Elements for the Li Ming. 20s will come in at about 2/3 of a level for the members of Witch Rhythm. That 2 for 0 did give them a chance to catch up and experience somewhat. And we're just flowing into the late game here. Both Null camps have been captured. Peas is here to help clear out the Witch Rhythm side. And Bot Boss is going to be up in 30 seconds. Whether or not they'll be contested, I don't know, but it is worth thinking about. The rotate looks towards Peas, but he's able to back out safely. Only one building left for Witch Rhythm here, while the members, this is lost 40%, but yeah. Every building's still there for Pepegas on Ice, and they are looking like they are still in complete control of this map. Pepegas on Ice are looking towards this boss as soon as it spawns. But Witch Rhythm, they're aware. They're going to try and contest this, but Leoric is slow in coming. Now, the boss does provide bonus damage here. So Blitz will step right in, gets on the point, wants to make sure when it takes enough damage. Hanzo is going to focus. The Dragon Arrow does come out and hit Bees, but the Wind Tunnel is here. But the Unstoppable of Johanna will mean she can stay on this point. This point is still contested. A good silence on 2. So much damage coming out. Muidar is caught, and Raptor had to jump out, meaning this boss is in fact captured by Witch Rhythm. And they also get a 3 for 0 as Falstad, Li Ming, and Malfurion are all killed. The Molten Core will come out for T-Core, but this is going to be a big advantage swing to the side of Witch Rhythm. So we do see the Indestructible for Johanna at 20, Intensifying Toxin for Lunara, Bullseye for Hanzo, Buried Alive, and we saw that silence play a huge role in that team fight, and we do see the Far Seer's Blessing for the Rhaegar. With their fort gone, it's going to be much harder for Raptor and T-Core to live, and in fact, there's a staggered death onto the Ragnaros. He tries to leap out, but the Contempt of Johanna catches him, and that is a 5-man team wipe from Witch Rhythm. And this gives them an opportunity to turn this game around to Siege to end now. Ooh, I actually have it right. we do see Sylphrenia return, and she's forced to teleport out as the totem basically locks her in place. Big heals there from Malf. But they recapture the camp. This boss will go down quickly, as the keep has taken a good chunk of damage from the minions, but it looks like for now they'll be able to save it with about 15% health left. But that's only for the moment, as the not Dwarven, the Orcish cavalry will be riding in shortly to aid the members of Witch Rhythm, who've gone from being quite far behind to bringing themselves, in fact, ahead in experience of Pepegas on ice. Now, the lava wave will come out and will clear the bot lane, pushing the spawning cavalry back, basically as far as the next wave goes. Meaning it's only going to spawn about this far forward. And boop. So now it's going to be stopped wherever the blue wave is, which is here. In the top, this is here. So this ends up being more defensive, not able to bring a lot of value aggressively. The second lava wave will come out, and it's mid as both teams set up 5v5 here. Real Rad Dad and Vetlungs looking for their... Out comes the Blessed Shield, and it's going to catch Muradin, or Malfurion again. Muradin was in there. He doesn't die, but Malfurion goes down quickly. And again, it's a bit of a tough healer role to have here. There is a stun on 2 from the Storm, but the Ancestral Healing will come out and save Blitz's life, and that double is huge. There comes the Dragon's Arrow out onto Tikor as it stuns him, and he's not able to use the Molten Core at this time. In the top, this cavalry is down to about 3/4. In the bottom, it's charging towards this low health keep, and both teams will rotate there. But this keep will go down. The Molten Core, and again, another great stun onto Tikor. Not able to use the Molten Core. Lots of damage coming out, though. Vetlungs is at half health. Raptor's taking chunks, and this Lunar does so much late in the game. Onto the core, and Falstad is killed! And despite being behind almost this entire game. Now, tons of damage is going out into Vetlungs and Blitz. The invulnerable, or indestructible is popped, and Vetlungs is killed, as Sylphrenia is desperately putting damage out to try and keep her team in this game. And King Dunce takes a good chunk of damage, but they manage to save Vandar Stormpike for now. Top fort did go down to this Orcish cavalry and their mammoth greatsword, but they only get the top, so there's still a slight building advantage. But the momentum of this game has swung in favor of Witch Rhythm, and it's going to take more than a few lava waves to set things back into the momentum of Pepegas on ice. Fantastic, fantastic game one between these two Div C teams. They both take a breath, grab their camp, and wait for their next opportunity to win a big team fight. And Muidar is going to have to start to be very, very careful being around the front line, because they've been waiting for the Buried Alive to lock down specifically Muradin and Malfurion. And when those two are locked down, there's very little the rest of this team can do. They really don't have any peel outside of the Mighty Gust when Malfurion and Muradin are locked down. Now, red team, or sorry, the blue team does come up. They check the boss. They see that their opponents are not on it, while Falstad is mid, clearing out, and the last knoll on the side of Witch Rhythm will fall. Both teams just scouting each other out, keeping an eye on what can be done here, as there will be a camp pushing mid, and in the bottom, it is fairly even in the waves that are here. The camps have spawned, and it looks now, are they preparing to take this? It looks like Witch Rhythm wants to take the top boss here. Lava Wave does go through the bottom lane, and for some reason, hearing by Fire be purged, they leap onto this boss, but they jump off it just as quickly. Raptor comes to check, doesn't see anything. Sees 3 people here, though. Has the Dwarf tossed out, takes a huge chunk of damage. Pops through. Out comes a Blessed Shield, and once again, Muidar is caught up in the front. Takes a ton of damage from the Lunara and will die as he's silenced and cannot heal. And once again, being in the front line is the end of this Malfurion. They're trying to get the return kill on Blitz, but great stuns keeps the Johanna alive for now. And these Buried Alive in tombs have been absolutely devastating to the members of Pepegas on Ice. Now, there is a wave on the boss. It's at 14,000 health. They're continuing to want to delay this capture of the point, but Lenora's had to go back, so it is a 4v4 now. Raptor Dwarf tosses out, but Peas is on Real Rad Dad in the back, forced to pop the Ancestral on himself. Oh, and the Scatter Arrow kills Peas as the Falstad, so squishy, gets blown away by the skill of the Japanese archer. So, 8 more seconds on Malfurion, and they get the totem onto Sylphrenia, but the Scatter Arrow not able to connect with multiple parts. Raptor does get chunked out here, does Dwarf Toss out, is stunned, has to pop the rewind just to use Dwarf Toss again. There is a big wave pushing top. Meanwhile, they are recapturing this camp, but the minions are stopping Leoric for the time being very annoying. But 22 more seconds before we see Falstad return. A lava wave will come out bottom in hopes that they can get this bottom keep to go down to minion pressure. They see Hanzo's top. They want to come in for the 4v4 here. King Duns takes a lot of damage from an orb there, and they will recapture this camp, but 17 seconds left on it. They get it back. Falstad using that storm, but look at all this minion experience here. So Falstad is back and flies up. The members of Witch Rhythm are taking their camps. They're just trying to delay the engage of Pepegas on ice. But this promises to be a huge, huge team fight. And for the moment, we're going to get rid of our talents. Because you've seen the talents, it's time to see what this fight looks like. Now, wave priority is still going over. Now, in the mid lane, it will no longer be Pepegas on ice advantage because this full health camp will be pushing towards their middle keep. Raptor and Blitz both step up. Vetlungs is looking for this Entomb. He wants the Buried Alive. Not casting it, but there it is. It comes out, followed by the Blessed Shield, and that is so much damage. Peas and Ragnaros go down immediately. Raptor takes a ton of damage. The Ancestral came out. That may have been a fat finger, as nobody was really that injured. Mudar's taking a ton of damage. They're focusing down this Malfurion, and they capture the camp. They've got a 3 for 0 so far. They're jumping on Raptor, and also Frenia manages to get away, as does Muradin. The King of Dwarves cannot save his vassal, Vandar Stormpike here, as the Orcish Cavalry will be collected by Witch Rhythm. And their level 20 teamfight has looked fantastic, and it's really rotated around the Vetlungs Buried Alive Entombs. It is such a game changer, and I really think it is, again, underrated largely in the offlane community. I think Leoric is an S-tier offlaner, and the Buried Alive Entombs at 20, if you can get a large map like this where it's possible to get it, it really deflects counterplay. And that is what Pepegas and Ice have been finding. Every time Vetlungs is hitting 2 people with that Buried Alive, they die. They just die. Now, Ragnaros is up now, and he will get a Lava Wave out, but does almost nothing to this Cavalry. Out comes the Buried Alive Entomb. Out comes the Dragon Arrow. Raptor's incredibly low. He is going to go down. Tikor taking a ton of damage. Put some damage onto Blitz. The heals do come out, and they will kill Johanna. It's a tank for a tank, but now these Cavalry are on Vandar Stormpike, and he's down to 10,000 health. He's taking a ton of damage. They cannot clear this Cavalry fast enough. They're chunking away at this Dwarf, and Vandar Stormpike is defeated by the Horde. And what a fantastic game one. It was so much in the advantage of this global team comp. But what do you give up when you draft global team comp? Well, you give up certain things in team fights. Falstad doesn't have as high consistent damage as some other characters do. Ragnaros with that global ultimate, you miss out on Sephiroth's match. So the opportunity cost of going global means when you get that big lead, you have to win with it. And when Red team hit 20, their ability to layer the Blessed Shield, Dragon's Arrow, Buried Alive meant they crushed their opponents. And they did have a kill deficit early on, but in the late game, every team fight went the way of Witch Rhythm. So congratulations to them. They hung in this game, they waited patiently, and they destroyed the last few team fights to come out as number 1 in game number 1. So victory to, why is my brain going nutty? Victory to Witch Rhythm as I take game number 1 on Alterac Pass. GG. So let's see where these teams would like to take us for game number 2. Oh, that was such an even matchup that, you know, here's hoping game 2 and maybe even game 3 is equally as entertaining. Map number 2 will be on Brax's Holdout. So this is also a very fun map. We often see interesting team compositions here. You usually have duelists in the top lane fighting over the top point, and then you have a 4-man in the bottom looking to capture that bottom point. So let's have a look at who these teams drafted, and then jump into game number 2 between Pepegas on Ice and Witch Rhythm here on Brax's Holdout. So, in the blue, oh, these teams have actually switched sides, so let's adjust that. So, in game number 2, the blue side is now Witch Rhythm, and they've selected Stitches, Anduin, Blaze, Sylvanas, and Gul'dan. This is a very siegey comp that is also capable of doing some damage in a team fight. Now, Blaze is a decent duelist, but not a fantastic duelist. So he may need ganks to help set up his fights in the top. Now, granted, you can win any matchup if you really, really know your matchup, but Artanis is extremely strong as a duelist, and Blaze could be punished going into that. But the Stitches Anduin combo is a kidnap combo. The hook, gorge, into pull means you can have one of your characters a whole screen away in about a second and a half. Gul'dan puts out lots of consistent damage, and the Sylvanas, the Wailing Arrow, can absolutely turn a team fight around just as quickly as Buried Alive can. So this is a team that can do many things well. It can clear Zerg waves, it can clear minion waves, it can clear camps. I swear I can speak English usually. But that is our blue team's draft. Stitches just gets stronger the longer the game goes. Although Brax isn't usually a map that goes super long, it tends to be a bit snowbally. So we'll see if they're able to use the Stitches Anduin early game to get themselves an advantage. On the red side, they drafted Tassadar, Johanna, Ariel, Zagara, and Artanis. So they're using Zerg against the Zerg, but they also have 2 Protoss who have lots of experience in purifying Zerg. Ariel is pretty solid at healing on this map, although it looks like Muidar and Peas have swapped roles. Lots of sustain on the point, although Anduin isn't bad at it either, so these 4-man fights could last a real long time in the bottom. Johanna, once again, good at controlling space, which is what you want over a tight point fight. Tassadar also very good at clearing waves and camps, and Zerg, as is Zagara, pretty solid as well. And Artanis is a good duelist who should have the advantage in the top over Blaze. So both these teams drafted well, able to deal with the what's on the map as well as what's on their opponent's teams. Again, they don't really have the big follow-up for the Blessed Shield outside of a Maw. Like, they don't have the Dragon's Arrow or anything else to really follow up and do a ton of damage. But, in fact, I'm kind of failing to see after 10 how you really set up a team fight unless you get a really good Maw and a Blessed Shield on a different group and blow them up. Because the lockdown outside of Blessed Shield and Maw is pretty well non-existent. Wall should help. But the lockdown you like to have to help follow up Johanna is a bit iffy. And both Tassadar and Zagara can be a bit slow in their damage. So you're really going to need Artanis to show up in these late game team fights and help finish people off. So looking at how you finish people off in a team fight, it's going to be really positioning based. Fights for both these teams are really going to be based on, do they kill the Tassadar or the Gul'dan first? Is it the Zagara or the Sylvanas that gets caught out? Is the hook really forcing Pepegas on Ice to kind of dance around? So, this is game number 2 between these two teams. Let's see who can bring it home. Or take us to game 3. On the blue side, we do have Witch Rhythm. Matt 407 on the Gul'dan. King Dunce is on Sylvanas. Blitz on the Stitches. Real Rad Dad bringing Anduin. And on the Blaze, we've got Vetlungs.
Systems online in 10 seconds.
On the red side, we have Pepegas on Ice, who look like they're going into a 2-3 split.
4,
We've got Raptor on Johanna, Peas on Ariel, Sulfrenia on the Tassadar, Tikor on this Artanis, and Mui Dar bringing the Broodmother Zagara. Ever think you'd be teamed up with the Zerg Artanis? But the 4-man is coming top with Sylvanas. They're looking to Black Arrow here. Tikor will jump on them as he did go stack Tanis, Protector of Ire at level 1. But they are going to look to take this first tower, and indeed they get it. In the bottom, there's a bit of pushback, but they only have 3 here, and Tassadar is not the world's fastest character at taking a building. So Matt 407 will be capable to defend this fairly easily. So the rotate will come out now from the members of Witch Rhythm. So we do see Patchwork Creation for the Stitches, giving him 15% increased healing permanently. We have Power Word Shield from Anduin. We've got Adrenaline Stim Pack, but a big fight is coming out. The Iron Skin is down for Raptor and is forced to back away, as Sylfrenia has a hard time being a good battery for this Ariel, and so the hat or the Halo will go onto the Zagara. We've got Might of the Banshee Queen from Sylvanas and Echoed Corruption with 10 stacks already to Matt 407's Gul'dan. Raptor going to have a look and to scout this out, does see it, does have the Zealous Glare flashlight build with the additional charge, looking to cause some frustration, but there's no one here from the team to support. A good whip there from Peas means Blitz will not be able to step up, and there's the pull on King Dunce as Sylvanas almost goes down here. Both of the points will be captured by Pepegas and Ice as once again they look to get an early game lead. We see the Psy Infusion from Tassadar, the Zealous Glare as we mentioned for Johanna, Searing Light from Ariel. Raptor getting low once again. The whip misses and out comes the Iron Skin, but Johanna is incredibly low. The Banelings come out, don't manage to catch anyone, so now the bottom will be captured by Witch Rhythm, meaning that at 60%, the beacons are now even, and Vetlungs has jumped onto the point as Tikor comes back in to attack Blaze. But with the stun, that means they're going to get at least a couple of percent, so that will be 16-18. Blaze has to pop his Pyromania trait, manages to stay alive, but top will be recaptured after getting 30%. We also have Corpse Feeders for Zagara, and like we've said, Protector of Ire, the auto-attack stacking build for Stack Tanis. Raptor does recapture the bottom. They're getting percentage again. Peas looking to heal, but her team is very split up. Ariel. I don't know if Peas is her. Raptor does get caught here. Rooted doesn't have the Iron Skin. There! Pops just in time as they kill the Stitches, and his corpse will decorate the Zerg beacon. And then he'll explode into 2 little roaches. So that's cute. Vetlungs will do his best to support this 33% Zerg wave as Tikor looks to defend. And unfortunately, it's one thing Artanis is not that strong at, is clearing this Zerg wave. So Muidar will come top, as once again, the Zerg and the Protoss will work together. In the bottom, there will be a huge defense here, but it is a 3v4, even with the Zerg wave. A ton of damage on King Dunce. He gets very low. Raptor is taking damage from the fort. Blitz gets knocked back by the whip. Out comes the wall as well. Most of the Zerg are gone except for these final few Guardians. There is the route onto Raptor, forced to back away, and the Gul'dan is excellent at clearing this. They only take about 10% on their bottom fort. Well, in the meanwhile, they basically got equivalent. Both teams got a gate, and there was a small amount of damage on this fort. So excellently played there by Witch Rhythm, keeping themselves in the early game. There is about a quarter of a level advantage to the members of Pepegas on Ice, as once again, they take themselves an early game lead in experience, but Witch Rhythm is by no means out of it. So Tikor is taking the top camp, while the 4-man will take the bottom camp. And in the meantime, we're seeing a similar trade. top camp will go over for Witch Rhythm as well. It looks like Pepegas on Ice would like to push with this. They want to try and catch out the Stitches here, but he does use the Shambling Horror to keep himself from being slowed. They do hook the Tassadar, but there's no DPS here to follow up, so that'll be a stun onto the Stitches. He does not want to be caught out here, and a great pull from Real Rad Dad's Anduin will keep Stitches alive for the moment. Gul'dan is here to clear, and that means it will be a fast clear. The Fire Bats are stomping out. They are delayed by the Roaches here. It is now a 4v4 in the bottom. Another wall there from the Tassadar, as he just hands out electric fences one after another. And again, Gul'dan has good clear, but so do against PvE. Excellent clear from the Zagara. So, camps that are not well defended by heroes will not last long in this game. Now, this top camp, again, difficult for Artanis to clear. He has no ranged abilities, so he just has to use the Blade Dash. Echoed Corruption finishes now, increasing the damage of this Gul'dan. And that may, again, without a really true battery for the Ariel, that is going to make life quite painful for Pepegas on Ice. Again, in this top lane, only slightly defending this. There's no damage on this. Artanis cannot really get good damage on this camp safely. He either has to fight Blaze or deal with the camp. He cannot do both. And so both beacons will be captured by Witch Rhythm as they're using the macro to push back this Artanis. And that's exactly what you need to do into the Protoss Warrior. Camp mostly down now, just the Raven left. Tikor will jump onto Vetlums, who pops the Pyromania. And that means his armor goes way up, and he will not die to the Prelate. Bottom still fully under the control of Witch of them, and they will rotate top, looking to catch to see if Tikor steps up when he shouldn't. He's going to come in on Vetlums. There's the stun. King Dunce and Matt Foros have come in immediately. They're looking to kill this Artanis. Muidar looks to provide support. Tikor will get out alive, but the beacon will be recaptured. But in the bottom, there is a rotation in from Pepegas on Ice, but it's 62% to 0 so far, and it is strongly in the advantage of Witch Rhythm. Iron Skin has to come out as the Corruption is doing tons of damage to our Diablo Crusader. King Dunce putting the damage onto Raptor now. The Iron Skin is already down. Out comes a hook. They catch Ariel. She's in a rough spot here, but tens are about to come out for the members of Pepegas on Ice. We see the Suppression Pulse. We see the Black Hole in the Maw. Blessed Shield. And at 72%, this should force Witch Rhythm back just until they catch tens of their own. Blessed Shield comes out. Out comes a Black Hole. They're going to kill Gul'dan, and he is down. The Maw catches two as Stitches and Anduin are caught in here. And there is the whip in the top. Tikor managed to 1v1 the Blaze down. A huge silence comes out, though. Is it the Wailing Arrow? Yes, Wailing Arrow came out. Silence 3, and they almost got Raptor and Peas, but he manages to keep them alive. His heal misses Peas, though, and Peas is dead. They managed to get Stitches back in return. Sorry, Peas isn't dead. Johanna is dead, and that is someone else. Real Rad Dad gets out with 18 hit points and manages to walk away. Peas will go to recapture this point. Gul'dan has returned from being murderized, but finally, some beacon percentage will go over to Pepegas on Ice. Tikor continuing to look aggressively at Vetlungs. And now defending this point as they wait, as Witch Rhythm has to wait for Stitches to come back. Will look for a hook on a vulnerable target. He took Bile. So no Gorge here for this kidnap combo. The Horrify comes out from Gul'dan. That means Sofrena is all alone. Out comes the Black Hole, but a great sidestep by Blitz means he is not forced back and is able to kill the Tassadar. Peas is now all alone, has not rehatted anybody, so no healing for the Ariel, and they get a 2 for 0 on the DPS members of Pepegas on Ice. So 100% to 67%. Gul'dan sent top to clear this big wave, but in the bottom, it's up to the healer and the melee offlaner to clear this 100% Zerg wave, and this is not going to be fun. The Bile comes out for Stitches. putrid bile, in fact. It's yucky. We also see Light Bomb, Bunker Drop, Wailing Arrow, and Horrify. Oh, but they catch Real Rad Dad. The hook attempt comes out and the Wailing Arrow, but Anduin is murderized even as the bottom fort goes down. In the top, Gul'dan and Vetlungs barely manage to save it, but will go down to minions? It does. So it is a fort for a fort, and it is a dead Anduin. The suppression pulse comes out to see if there's defense here, and there isn't. So all 5 members will come in. The hook will come out, but stopped at the fort. They do not manage. Out comes the Blessed Shield as Raptor is tanking a ton of damage from this fort. The Maw will come out and get stitches, but that also indicates a safe retreat for Pepegas on Ice. And again, both these teams are playing so tightly contested. What an even game. An invade is coming out from Witch Rhythm. They don't have 13, a good unstoppable, but it still is a stun onto Peas. Whips Vetlung's back, but Raptor is caught. It's taking a lot of damage. Out will come the Light Bomb. It hits nobody, but they are forced to give away their camp, and the Bruiser will go over to Witch Rhythm. Now, thankfully, in a weird way, this fort is already gone, so they don't have to worry about it pressuring their fort. But Artanis also backed away, not willing to try and take this camp in case they get invaded again. So there's a bit of psychological warfare going on here as well from Witch Rhythm. They're safely taking their Fireback camp, but Tikor, knowing they could be in his jungle, unwilling to go after his Fireback camp, as they will also go for their Bruiser camp here. So they will move the 5-man to take the Firebats, as that invade really did make them afraid. And it should have. They could have lost everybody and the camp, but they backed away very smartly. So Artanis will go bottom as the rest of the 4-man comes top to defend. Out will come the hook. They do get Muidar's Zagara, but a great Maw catches too. Out comes the black hole in the wall. So much damage coming out from the Gul'dan. The Wailing Arrow kills 2. That's Ariel and Zagara, and out comes the Light Bomb as well. Raptor getting pressured out. This corruption is doing so much damage from Gul'dan. Out comes the Jump Repulsion. It misses, but Raptor's taking so much damage. Here's the Shadow Walk. A great sidestep there from Sophrenia. Will not be caught by the Stitches Hood. But with black arrows, the top fort will go down. And that is a decided advantage for the first time in game number 2 for Witch Rhythm. That Wailing Arrow snipe was nasty out of King Duns. The beacons will be up, and while the 2 dead members will return to life for Pepegas on Ice, they are now on the back foot, and that's what I mean about this being a snowbally map. Early on, they couldn't get the snowball rolling hard enough for the members of Pepegas on Ice, but now that snowball is firmly rolling the way of Witch Rhythm, and it's up to Pepegas on Ice to find a way to stop that snowball and push it back up the hill. Sisyphus snowball. They're looking for the invade. They're looking for opportunities to catch people out. Tikor is stunned by the Jet Propulsion, is hooked. Here comes the stun, but also the Light Bomb. The bunker will go down. Out comes the Maw, and it catches just Stitches. King Dunce will use the Haunting Wave to go into the back line here. Jet Propulsion catches 2, and the Horrify catches 3. There's so much CC on the side of Witch Rhythm, and this is the problem. The follow-up for the incredible abilities. The Blessed Shield had no follow-up, and now they're being caught. The wall actually stops Tikor from escaping. Sophrenia sabotaging her own Artanis. The Protoss are not here to help each other, and it's a 4-for-0 for Witch Rhythm. As Tassadar murderizes his successor by putting a wall in his escape path. So going for boss now, Witch Rhythm will burn it down quickly as this Gul'dan absolutely chunks the corrupted Odin, or Viking. It's a landed Viking. Beacon progress already at 76%, and is going to tick all the way up with no contest from the members of Pepegas on Ice. So there will be a boss and a Zerg wave in the top lane. It'll be 100% to 18%. This bottom fort will go down to this small Zerg wave. But, I mean, at this point, Pepegas and Ice have to make sure that this boss and Zerg wave combo doesn't end their game and end their series, as they are down 1 game. The Roaches will come out. Valiant defenders they are. The damage from the boss is huge. The big hook there from Blitz catches Raptor, but he manages to walk out safely. Big stun there from P's Ariel, but a good pull there from Ando. And the suppression pulse will come out from Artanis, who's pushing bottom at the moment. The black arrows will come out, and the keep is not helping them defend. Out comes the black hole, but it is not enough. The Horrify catches two, but neither one of them are pushed toward. Here comes the silencing arrow, so no heals for the moment from Ariel. All 5 members are here to defend, but the Zerg wave is still here. The boss still at 75%. Out comes the light bomb. The Crystal Aegis will keep our Johanna safe for now, but Ariel goes down. Stitches dies, but they get Artanis. They get Johanna as well. Sylvanas will go down, but this boss is hammering away at the core, and it is a 2v3, and this Gul'dan is just chucking damage like it is his job, and it is. Game number 2, and this series will go over to Witch Rhythm. Rich Rhythm, if you will. So our early game fear, looking at the tens of the red side of Pepegas on Ice, did end up coming to fruition. They had some really good Blessed Shields. They had some really solid Maws, and even some of the walls were solid, but they had nowhere to go from there. The damage from Zagara and Tassadar isn't necessarily bursty enough, and even with Artanis, it doesn't bring the kind of burst you need to follow that sort of thing up. So it's a good draft in all of its pieces and with all their abilities, but they didn't have a lot of 10 synergy or heroic ability synergy, which really ended up costing them, because the heroic synergy from like the Blaze Stun into the Gul'dan Horrify split into the Wailing Arrow, it just totally defeated them. And even if they started to get someone low, there was Bunker, there was Putrid Bile to really slow them down, there were Anduin pulls. And I will say, the way they played this sort of dance around and wait until there's a disadvantage for Pepegas on Ice, Witch Rhythm really knew what their composition needed to do to win team fights, and once 10 hit, they abused it relentlessly, and that ended up meaning they abused Pepegas relentlessly. So thank you to both these teams. Very, very close series, but just some excellent play at the ends of Game 1 and Game 2 for Witch Rhythm to pull out both those games. It feels unfair to call this series a domination, as both teams looked really even until Witch Rhythm managed to pull out wins in both games. But that's it for our first stream of the day. Our next stream will be at 2:15 Eastern time, or 12:15 my time, so in about an hour and 15 minutes. The VODs for this match will be on Twitch for 7 days and on my YouTube Omster. Again, thanks to both these teams. Thanks for all the casters keeping it real out there. And thanks to Heroes of the Storm for being a great game that we can all enjoy. So with the 2-0 over to Witch Rhythm, that will end this series. And for now, it'll end the stream. I hope you can all go enjoy some Heroes of the Storm. Later.